The bright lights of America's Got Talent shimmered across the grand stage as two figures slowly stepped forward, a frail Filipino grandpa, his hand trembling slightly, and beside him, his young grandson, eyes glowing with pride and love. The crowd didn't yet know who they were, but something about their presence already whispered magic. When Simon Cowell leaned forward, intrigued, the boy bowed politely and introduced them. "This is my Lolo, and we want to sing a song that reminds us of home." The audience melted at the word Lolo, the Filipino term for grandfather, a symbol of deep respect and family love. The grandpa's voice cracked as he greeted the judges, his English broken but full of warmth. There was a pause, the kind of silence that holds its breath before something unforgettable. Then the music began, a gentle guitar melody carrying the soul of the Philippines. The moment their voices intertwined, the rich, aged timbre of the grandfather blending with the pure, angelic tone of the grandson, the entire theater fell into a trance. This wasn't just a performance, it was a bridge between generations, between continents, between past and future. The song they chose was a classic Filipino ballad, one that had lulled generations to sleep and carried through the storms of island life, a song about love, memory, and the eternal bond of family. The boy's voice trembled at first, but when his grandpa gently squeezed his hand, he found courage. Together, they sang with such sincerity that it pierced every heart in the room. Tears began to glisten in the eyes of people who didn't even understand the lyrics, because emotion, when pure, needs no translation. The grandpa's voice carried decades of stories, laughter under mango trees, nights of hard labor, prayers whispered under candlelight. The boy's voice carried innocence, hope, and the echo of the future. Every note seemed to rise higher than the last, carrying the essence of their homeland across the Atlantic Ocean into that vast auditorium. The camera caught Simon Cowell's expression softening, his lips parting slightly, eyes reflecting something deeper than admiration. For once, he wasn't judging, he was feeling. When the chorus hit, you could almost see the memories flickering behind the old man's eyes. Memories of his youth, of his late wife whom he had once serenaded with this very song back in Manila. The grandson had grown up hearing his Lolo hum it every morning while watering plants or fixing things around the house. Singing it together on that global stage was more than just a dream, it was a tribute to their family, their country, and their unbreakable bond. The boy had begged his Lolo to join him, saying, "Lolo, people need to hear you sing before it's too late." That sentence had broken the old man's fear, and on that night, every word he sang was a prayer. The theater lights reflected off the tears running down his cheeks, yet his voice never wavered. The crowd began to sway softly, waving tiny Filipino flags. Somewhere in the front row, a woman whispered, "That's what love sounds like." The applause that followed wasn't just for their performance, it was for their courage, for their story, for the generations of Filipinos who carried music in their hearts like a sacred inheritance. As the final note faded into silence, the entire room stood up. It wasn't a routine standing ovation, it was slow, reverent, almost sacred. The grandpa looked overwhelmed, clutching his chest as tears fell freely. The boy hugged him tightly, whispering, "We did it, Lolo." Simon Cowell wiped his eyes, something he rarely allowed cameras to capture, and leaned into the microphone. "I've heard thousands of singers," he said quietly, "but this wasn't a performance. This was love." His voice cracked slightly, and the crowd gasped. How often does Simon Cowell, known for his iron composure, show tears? The other judges were equally moved. Heidi covered her mouth, Howie placed his hand on his heart, Sophia wiped her eyes. The moment transcended competition. Even the production crew paused, many wiping tears behind the cameras. Simon pressed the golden buzzer slowly, deliberately, not out of hype, but out of respect. Golden confetti rained down as the boy and his grandpa held each other, crying and laughing at once, bathed in gold. It was as if heaven itself had descended for a few shining seconds. Backstage, the old man was speechless. He looked at his wrinkled hands, still trembling, and said in Tagalog, "Hindi ko akaling mangyayari ito sa akin, I never thought this would happen to me." The boy smiled and replied, "It's all because of you, Lolo." Their video went viral within hours, spreading across the Philippines, the US, and the entire world. Millions watched and commented, saying things like, "This made me miss my grandfather," or, "Even if you're not Filipino, you can feel the love." News outlets called it the most emotional moment in AGT history. The grandpa became a national hero overnight, representing not fame but something purer, the beauty of family and tradition. During interviews, he said softly, "I just wanted to sing with my grandson before my time is done." The world was reminded that music isn't just for winning trophies, it's for remembering who we are and where we come from. Even weeks later, people were still rewatching the performance, unable to move on from its warmth. Months later, as the AGT season drew to a close, the boy and his Lolo returned home to the Philippines as hometown heroes. In a small village celebration, children ran around singing their song, elders smiled through tears, and the air was filled with pride. The grandpa sat under a tree, watching his grandson play the guitar, knowing that their song, their love, would live on far beyond either of them. When reporters asked what his favorite memory was, he replied, "The look in my grandson's eyes when we sang together. That was heaven." Simon Cowell later mentioned the duo in an interview, calling it one of the purest moments in AGT history. In an age of flashy performances and quick fame, this story became a timeless reminder that sometimes, the most powerful performances come not from perfection, but from love, raw, honest, and shared across generations. And though the golden confetti had long been swept away, the echo of their song still lingered, not just in the theater, but in the hearts of millions who watched, cried, and remembered the simple truth: love, like music, never grows old.